Hey everyone, welcome back to the Cloth and Paper channel. Today I'm going to show you just the basics of layering in your planner. You know that whole visual vibe that you see on Instagram, you know that whole, you see someone whose planner and you're like, why can't I get my planner to look like that? In today's video, we're going to go over some layering moments and the principle of how to layer. So if you want to see how we do that here, then continue watching. Hey everybody, my name is Ashley. I am the founder here at Cloth and Paper. Like I said, today is one of my favorite topics. You guys, we hit on this quite a bit in our happy hour lives every Thursday at 3. But today we're gonna do a dedicated video. This might be number 1 of a series because we're gonna start really basic today with one, what is layering? We know what that is, but some of us may not know what layering is. We're gonna start very basic today with just what is layering, how do we achieve it, and how can I make my planner a little bit more interesting. So we're gonna explain everything very at a high level, and hopefully that will help you achieve some of those planners that you see online on Instagram that you guys are always wanting to achieve. So today is going to be very simple. And what helps me, I wrote a blog post, I think it was back in 2018 or so, where I equated capsule wardrobe planning to capsule planning. And capsule planning has always kind of been the foundation of how I planned, because my mood changes, right? Where maybe every season I want to integrate a new color story or a new visual story into my planner. So when I open it, I continue to stay inspired to keep up the routine of planning. And to me, that is where layering comes in. That is part of what keeps you interested or just engage with your planning routine overall. We want to continue to make planning fun and just feel rewarding to you. So the look of a planner being perfect isn't the ultimate goal by any means. I just know that for somebody like being someone that is more creative leaning, I like everything that I touch or that is part of my routine to also be visually attractive at the same time. So that's what we're working on, how to make your planner look visually stunning, and we're going to achieve that with layering today. You may ask, what is layering? Layering is just adding various components together to create a look outside of its intended original look. So we do that a lot with layering like opaque items with maybe something that's transparent, or we do that with various materials and textures. So today we're only going to focus on layering with dashboards. I think a lot of us have dashboards in our collection, and we can achieve this look the quickest with dashboards. So we'll start with dashboards, and maybe in future videos on layering we'll integrate other things like journaling cards, stickers, photos, what have you. But today it's just going to be like a layering 101. Let's start very basic. Something that just helps me is I like putting together something either with a texture or something that is graphically heavy on the bottom of my layering moment, and then something that's really light and airy and less heavy on top. To me, I feel like that is the foolproof way to get a very interesting and dynamic dashboard layering moment. But again, this is much like fashion where rules are meant to be broken. You can do what works for you. You can share in the comments. How do you ensure that your layering moments look good every single time? To me, this is what I do. There's some things that kind of go against this principle, and we'll get into that as we show them. But I think that is a great foundational rule to start with. So in this case, we have our elegant dashboard that is embossed. So this is a texture moment here that I will show you guys here. So let's close up. So here we're really focusing on just the texture of the embossed text. And something that you also may not be thinking about when you're layering is taking into account the divider text color that you've chosen as well. So I try to keep whatever text color I have on my dividers, I try to make sure that's like integrated somewhere on when I'm opening my planner, so that it doesn't look so much like a contrast, that it looks like very much like I'm telling a color story or I'm telling like a story here visually. So integrating some of the white here with the elegance dashboard here. Let me go to my dashboard closet, aka I'm looking at this a lot like fashion principles. It's like how you layer different elements. Like, so we may all have the same little back dress, right? Or we might all have the same black blazer, but it's all how you layer it and accessorize it that makes that garment or that item unique to you. And so we're gonna go ahead and go into like this little dashboard moment that we have behind me and really kind of make things our own. So quite a few of you may have this dashboard. This was in earlier sub box this year. And let's go in there with our 2025 vellum overlays, and let me show you how I would make this work. So again, this is very this is a transparent paper, so this is vellum, and it's very minimally designed, right? So it's not going to take too much away from what we have underneath. And if you see here, layering it like this really allows the text that was on the dashboard to really stand out. So here, maybe you're not seeing it so much, but as soon as you attach this vellum dashboard, that type really does start to stand out. And so you just kind of get this kind of overlapping layering text moment, and it just also looks just very interesting as you're turning the page. So that's very simple. Everyone uses vellum or has used vellum at one point or another to add some interest, to add some layering to your planner. So I would say that's probably the most basic form of layering right here. So removing this dashboard here, and the other principle I said of going something graphically heavy, so something with like a photo or a dense type or bold type or very heavy graphics, like this dashboard from our Luxe Sports collection here. If you put this in and then you were to put something like a very light and airy vellum on top, you'll get a nod of what's going on underneath, but it mutes it slightly. This visually interesting moment here. And then as you turn the page, it turns into kind of like this unveiling. I don't know, it's just like that little, a little bit of just like surprise that just gives you that like oomph when you're planning. So that is something that I do often, is taking something with an image, something that's graphically dense, and layering it with something that is very airy, something like with vellum that has minimal type or minimal design on it. So that is something that I do often. You can also take that same dashboard and just like, hey, that feels kind of flat to me. I want something even a little bit more than that. You can kind of go in there with something like our fluted dashboard or something like a screen printed dashboard to add another layer of just texture and interest. So you can also achieve that same layering moment with kind of plastic and other finishes. So in this case, we're gonna take the fluted and just add some texture while layering on top of that. So it kind of adds this like mystery to the dashboard underneath with this ripple effect, but also make it look very interesting. So if I were to take a picture of this right now and post this on Instagram, this would look very visually interesting because we're like, what's going on there, right? It looks different, it looks interesting, and that is what layering is about. It's just about taking something, common elements that many people may have, and putting them together in a unique way that is unique to you, unique to your planner, and so that they stand out a little bit more. So that is kind of how I would take those, right? So something that is one clear and has texture like our fluted dashboard, or something that is transparent and graphically minimal, and layering that on top so that whatever's underneath it can still have its moment to shine. This is our Legend color foundations planner in the A5 size, just in case you wanted to know. So when we're putting things together for you, or we're designing things together for you, we are wanting to make sure that they layer with other things that you may have in your collection. So when we assembled the item for the October collab box with Wondermind, when we put together the discbound bundle for this, we're like, we definitely need to make sure that we are laying our foundation of just layering with the bundle that we're putting together. So in this case, we took kind of a graphic plastic, right? So again, one of your elements that is easy to layer with, it's see-through, you can still see what's going on underneath, but it looks visually interesting at the same time. But we paired it with an embossed dashboard here. So you have that layering moment of this text layering on top of the embossing, just adds another interesting moment. And like I said, how I mentioned earlier, how dividers were very important in telling this visual story. We have blue on the dividers, but we also have blue here on the disc. So it cohesively, with all the layering moments, and we're adding blue in this, it makes everything looks very cohesive and very unified. So that is another way that we go about layering. So we can kind of take that same idea there from the discbound. We can add our elegance dashboard back here, and then we could do something like the fluted on top, and you kind of get this subtle, you see that? This subtle cryptic text look. It looks very much like funhouse text. It's so textured. So you're having the textured plastic layer, and then you also have this textured dashboard. So this is the rule that I said I was gonna break, is putting two textures together. So this is a highly textured dashboard with the embossing, but then you also have a textured clear layer on top. We know that in order to make this work, you really do need one of the elements to be clear. And because this is both clear and textured, you kind of just get more interesting. And this is kind of where it breaks the rule a little bit. So love that. So I actually show this one in a happy hour live. This is an HP Classic discbound setup, and same principle as we kind of did here on the October collab bundle here, is we implemented that using our icon notebook covers that are printed with white text. And then we used actually a half letter, so this isn't even the proper side, but you can also layer with various sizes in your planner to build interest. We'll talk about that in a future layering video, but for the sake of dashboards, you can also use half dashboards, which this one is, for layering and to adding dimension and texture and interest to the front of your planner, or even the interior of your planner. But we layered that with, again, an embossed dashboard. This is also from our Lux Sports collection release. This is the Volante dashboard. It looks beautiful paired with a lot of things, but it looks beautiful paired with this icon cover because of just like this tone on tone look. Like it kind of mirrors the embossing here at the top, and I just really love the look of that. Also added some additional layering with just the clip and the texture there. Again, we'll get into that in another video, but again, it's just there really are no rules. I'm trying to make this easy for you, but you can just add and add and add until your heart is content. It's something that just gives me great joy, just to spend time just playing in my planner, seeing what works, experimenting, and just playing around. So this is also taking the fluted dashboard. I took something that was again, a rule breaking, but I'm taking two clear items and pairing them together to have this really light effect. So when you take two vellum elements for something that is, or two clear elements, it really does create a different effect. So let's put this 2025 here, and let's add the fluted on top. It just adds an entirely different look. And we still have that kind of connecting part of like kind of this frosted white that connects with the tab color over there, so everything looks very unified and cohesive. You're adding some interest with the texture here on top, but you're still able to see a lot that's going on because you have two clear elements here going on. So again, that are going to be broken, but starting with if you're new to layering, starting with something very graphically dense. So this does have bolder text than what's going on top of it. Same here, like this does have bolder text than what's going on top of it. And so that's what helps this layering moment kind of come together here. The font on here wasn't as bold. It wouldn't have the same impact. The basis of the rule is true where you do need something just graphically heavier on the bottom with something just lighter on the top. And so that is basically layering 101. We're gonna just do a little montage of me playing around in here and just giving you some different ideas of how you compare different dashboards. And I encourage you to do that. We make it really easy each month to go in and refresh your dashboard and try different things out through our sub box. You get a dashboard each time and you really get to play around and try some new interesting things. But you'll see a little montage of me trying different layering moments, and hopefully you find one that you can walk away with, that you can integrate in your planner. If you have a favorite layering moment, if you can share it with us, because I would love to share some of them on Happy Hour Live and shout you out. But here we go. If you had this in A5, this would look really cool layered. I only have the discount size with me right now. But so I showed you this one. It's not really hitting right. The graphic is being covered up there. You're not really doing that justice. But if you were to add this element back, and then you add that, and it's back to being visually interesting. You just have your eye is just catching all these interesting points here, including the clip, if you wanted to do that. So one thing that we did keep in mind for our 2025 dated inserts is making it easy for you to have layering moments without you having to do a lot of work, especially if you weren't well versed in layering to begin with. So I will just completely remove this. And if you wanted to, in front of your January tab, you can add the actual cover for the dated inserts here, and you could put your 2025 dashboard over it. See, look at that. Taking something visually dense and putting it something visually lighter. So this has that bold graphic. And then same thing goes for the months, right? So you could separate however you want to do that. You can continue to put the covers on top of the months tab, or you can have them underneath. So let's take just for this, because this is the actual cover for January here. I'll just put that in front of the this belongs to section, and just see, like, we just made it super simple for you to layer with our 2025 vellum overlays. You have the principle of that bold, heavy graphic with something just visually lighter and less dense. And so we made it really easy for you to do that for 2025. Again, there is a lot that we can go into with layering, but we're gonna keep it very brief in here. My pens are even part of my layering moment, because you can see just like tying in the black there with a black pen. It's all a story here, but we'll go more in depth with how you can layer, just like in a kind of advanced layering moment. As you can see in this planner, one of them here, I went kind of deep with layering here. I have journaling cards, I have graphic cards, and then I had paired it with this vellum dashboard. On top of that, and then I layered all of that with the fluted dashboard. So it gets deep, y'all. We can go real deep, but we're gonna keep it light, gonna keep it airy on this one. So I hope you enjoyed these layering moments with me. Share your tips and tricks for layering in the comments, share your favorite layering moments in the comments, and I'll see you in video number 2. Guys, see you soon.